you hold back sometimes. I'm ready. I need you to break out of your shell, DJ. DJ Scribbles. No.
I'm
Okay.
so glad I cold opened you in time for that.
Oh no, you didn't. Welcome to Couch on Fire podcast, Rob and Alex. How you doing?
Oh, oh, that was such a perfect
uh,
grab.
you know, sometimes in life.
Big news, Rob. Big news.
What's
We
that?
crossed 1,000 plays. 15
Thank you.
views per episode on average.
Thank you.
I'm sure that's an
Oh,
arithmetic mean, so it's like some are going to be 30 and others are going to be 2.
yeah. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter. We're getting out there. I appreciate everyone liking, sharing, supporting us. I really appreciate us.
Uh,
You know,
I'm
when
gonna
the
I'm gonna
time.
say Mike Jones can eat my ass one more time for that
Oh, from the
awful
last podcast.
topic suggestion.
Oh God.
Oh,
But I want to say thank you
yeah,
for putting us out there. You know, when we hit our million views and stuff like that and listens, we'll remember
that's a
the
bold
small people.
assumption.
Oh, I think high. I think big.
Huh?
So I think pretty big. So I'm pretty confident that we're gonna get.
Okay.
Maybe not this year, but definitely next year. I'm telling you.
I like your enthusiasm. Let's do it.
So Alex, this has been a long-waited thing.
Oh God.
Wanted to talk. I kind of wanted to be a little serious, but not too serious. But
A little less serious than last time.
yeah. I guess it is kind of. I wanted to talk about autism, the spectrum, the Asperger's, all that good stuff. Well,
Oh,
good
okay.
stuff. All
So
that stuff.
first question: thoughts on vaccines?
Wow, you're going right into it. I like it. So
Fuck
thoughts
the
on vaccines.
anti-vaxxers. That's where I'm at.
Um, so what Alex is trying to get at is there's a couple. I don't know if you read the articles, but there's a couple articles that I've read because I am a parent as
A
a
couple?
child. Yeah, well, a lot of articles that really points towards vaccines being the cause or the bloom of this autism spectrum thing that's happening right now. Because
Which is
ever
horseshit.
since ever since people started getting certain vaccines, the people have been more on the spectrum. So
It's a broad correlation. They're painting with way too broad of a brush. The MMR specifically has always been the target, and it's
yeah.
been proven safe countless times. We've even adjusted the formula to
So I want
to 100% satisfy everybody, and they still keep bitching. There's no link. Period.
as a as
Get
a
vaccinated.
as a parent, I understand where other parents are coming from, where they want to blame. Everybody wants an answer, and they want to blame. Everyone, like when someone dies, you want to blame somebody. This is part of the grieving process, and I can understand why people are. It's a grieving thing, but I don't know.
Why
Before
do
I
you
tell
need
you,
to grieve that your child is still alive? That's something I don't
well,
understand.
I
You're not
will.
losing your child. You do with mumps, measles, and
Well,
rubella.
see, I disagree with you. This is going to be fun. Okay, let me
Do you
So
still have your child, Rob?
well, let me tell you the story, and let me tell you why before you start poking with these questions.
Okay.
Uh, let me just tell you this. So when I
Go
mean
nuts.
grieving, I'm not saying like grieving like someone I lost someone. Well, it does kind of feel that way. So when my daughter got diagnosed with autism, we had strangers come out to the house and they analyzed her. I mean, we took the steps before that because she wasn't talking, and there were certain signs that we didn't know because we were oblivious to it. But she wasn't talking. That was the biggest thing. So we took her to speech, we took her to hearing, and they were just like, okay, you need to talk to your doctor. And the doctor was like, okay, we're going to send someone to your house. So they came to the house, and they basically, the way the people word things, that's where the grieving part comes from. So they literally looked at me and my wife and they said, your daughter has autism and it's severe. She'll never be normal. She'll never go to school. You're just going to have to give up all your hopes and dreams. And so that's what I mean by grieving. Not that she died. It's just the expectations you have as a parent for your child has literally gone out the window. So now you have to start rebuilding new expectations. So there is a grieving process of that. So that's what I was
I
talking
wasn't
about.
saying there wasn't going to be an adjustment, but those
No,
people sound like assholes.
oh, they
What
are. They
the
would,
fuck?
yeah. I mean, so and it's just hard because when you first hear that, you're just you, it's it
The,
does feel like you just lost someone. Well, it just feels like you just lost something, and you don't know what it is, and it's a really hard thing. Now, with that said, that's been over 2 years now, and my daughter is like above average of everything. So like, regardless of what they said, they're totally wrong. But but
fair.
at the time though, it's like, so I can see people trying to find blame because it's like I've met people in the autism world, that
What does that
still
mean?
shelter they still sheltered their child. They don't want to take them out in public because they're so scared of what people think. And I understand that because I've seen people look at my daughter differently, and I want to beat the shit out of them. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a whole yeah, it's a whole thing. So,
Well, there's a lot of baggage.
mhm. But I do agree with you. There, my daughter is still alive. She is one of we've met some amazing people that have told us that, you know it don't ever look at what she can, well, what you wanted her to be, but look at what she can be. And there's a saying that I think is wonderful. In a world filled with roses, let her be the wildflower. So it's just, these are
Yeah.
little things that you feel good. And you know and I know, I I know people with autism. I know people that are on a lower spectrum. I mean, Alex, you kind of had, tell me your story. I'm not saying, yeah, tell me.
My dad tested positive for Asperger's, I think.
Yeah. Which,
And one day after I was on leave or I'd come home from my enlistment, he's like, I got something to tell you kids, because all of us were assembled. And he's like, I think you guys are on the spectrum, because I
yeah.
totally test positive on the spectrum. And like, I'm kind of diagnosed now, I guess.
Yeah.
So, as you guys display a lot of my traits and behaviors, I figured it'd be best to tell you that you're autistic spectrum. Uh, and we all just kind of looked at him like, you fucking think?
Well, one
We're
of the
all high
things that,
functioning, but also
yeah.
we've got some behaviors that are autistic.
Well,
Clearly.
I think one of the things that is so, like, people just assume one thing, but they really just don't know. The spectrum is so big. There's
Oh,
so many different
it
things.
is a very wide spectrum. In fact, it's
Um,
very likely there are multiple subspectrums that we could
yeah.
probably use and it be more accurate. But I'm not going to touch the science on that. I'll leave that to the
I'm, a,
professionals.
I'm It's so crazy. So I have ADHD. I'm sure everyone's aware by now because I'm all over the place. But a lot, literally 90% of the things, if you look at ADHD, you can look at the spectrum of autism. So it's just like,
Because
it's a
they're
little,
closely related.
they are. And
It
it's like,
looks like, I should say. It looks like.
but to answer a lot, I get this question a lot. I wanted to answer this on this podcast. Like, how did I know? And I kind of already did. We really didn't know. There's certain things that my daughter was doing we just knew weren't normal, and we did get her checked out and stuff. Um, I think there's really so. In another question people ask me is there pros and cons for a child with autism? And honestly, I mean, why would you ever want your child to be anything but normal? Um, but there is pros, and I think
I
the
just want
biggest
them to be
pro.
happy. Fuck normal for a
See,
minute, as long as they're
see
happy.
that is one of the biggest pros. She's always happy, and because she's so happy and smiling all the time and just so cheerful, it humbles me because it just makes me be patient. And I mean, that's another thing too. You got to have patience, and I think that's the biggest thing. Cons, yes, there is a lot of cons, but you got to learn to work around those cons. And
Adapt to your situation like anything else, you know?
yeah, and like it's I have moments where I break down. I think we didn't do the podcast yesterday because Sunday night my daughter wakes up at 1:30 in the morning. Now, one of the things that happens to me with ADHD Once I'm up, it's hard for me to go back to sleep because my brain is like, it's like constantly going. Like I'm
Yeah.
constantly thinking. I have a journal. I don't know where it's at right now, but I have a journal that literally down and write stories. Like, look at this. This is. I have 7 pages of story that I write down. Like, I literally just can't sleep. So I write, and my daughter kind of goes through that with the autism. So she was up at 1:30 and didn't go back to sleep until 5:30, and then she had to get up at 6:30 to go to school. So it's like, so it was a rough night. And days like that, I hate it, but you have to be so patient. But then there's great days where she just, because she, something is wrong, but when she just turns around and looks at you and just walks over and hugs you. I mean, no matter, even if you have a normal kid or any kid in the world, if they ever just come to you and hug you, that's, you feel like you did something right.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
get that from Mark all the time. It feels so good.
yeah. Now, as someone that was on the spectrum, did you feel like you were you, do you, because I know Asperger's is a little bit different, but do you feel like um, you had any kind of learning disabilities or any kind of feel like you were at fault at anything in life? Like you wish you could understand this better, or like was there any kind of handicap in your you feel like might have, if you knew about this earlier, that maybe you could have fixed it?
uh, its relation with anxiety disorders, actually.
Yeah,
If I'd have known about that piece a little sooner, I probably would not have had the desire to self treat while I was enlisted.
yeah,
Uh, or rather, it would have been more controlled,
yeah,
and I wouldn't have had the issues that I had with it. So there. I don't know that I would have changed that though, per se. I kind of really like where I'm at right now.
yeah.
um, and my like ticks and let me get into what makes this thing work.
Yeah.
Uh, Behaviors where everything has a root cause and everything's kind of like a system of gears that are all interacting in this giant mega system. Uh, that viewpoint really aids me in my job because
Yeah.
I'm a quality guy. I actually just found out this huge oversight today, actually, that's going to save a lot of our asses here in the coming days and weeks
Well,
for my whole district.
so you're basically saying like your attention to detail you think is above average because of
Oh, it's
the
caustic. Don't get that
okay.
twisted. It is a
Okay.
caustic level of attention to detail. Um, I will lose the forest for a single fucking piece of bark every day. Every fucking day. Um, However, you can figure out what you're good at and where your body and mind naturally take you and kind of work towards those tracks. And once you
Yeah.
feel that tunk tunk and you're in the track, you're like, oh, this is what it's like working within your potential. And it just, everything starts to self actualize. So uh, now there's no real net difference. Um,
Yeah.
I will say this: when I'm single, I rattle off the rails faster than any fucking body I'm aware of. Everybody kind of has this. Kurzgesagt actually just released their video in a nutshell on loneliness, and they're talking about like how loneliness interacts with human physiology on a physiological level. It's the same thing as hunger, just for social
Yeah.
interactions, because we're social apes.
Yeah.
We evolved that way. Uh, and like they talk about, there's a percentage of the population that will rattle themselves off their rails if they're lonely for too long. I 2 months
Well,
2 months. I feel like that's really fucking fast to like. Oh, and
well,
now I don't know what to do anymore. I'm at a loss.
well, I think it goes back to the abandonship or the loneliness is a trigger for people that are might
It,
and
and it
that's not
starts
necessary.
rattling the train
Yeah.
around, and then there's just a derailment, like,
Yeah,
and then you've got to pick up 1,000 pieces of whatever.
yeah, and it's just, yeah, that's just
Uh,
sad.
eh.
I'm glad we're past this. I don't want to hear you being sad
Well,
and going down
I'm
things.
not like it's a
Well,
win
yeah, I
single
know.
thing. Kind
Yeah,
of like loneliness hits me really, really hard. I don't need a lot of social interaction, but the level that I need must be met. Must be, or I'm fucked. Fucked.
well,
Uh,
I mean,
I don't
and
know.
it's crazy how you say this because my daughter's about to turn 4, and she's kind of almost the same way because when she's so affectionate, and now I know that's weird because a lot of autistic kids don't want to touch; they want to just be in their own little world. But the compression that
And
we
it's a
give her,
stimulus thing.
yeah, it's the compression that she gets when I hug her. Like if when we leave the room, she will, even if she's sleeping and she knows she's kind of asleep, and she'll just get up because she doesn't want to feel that loneliness. She wants to know that we're around. She doesn't even want us to interact with her. She just likes around. And I mean, it doesn't have to be autism to feel that way. Even people that not even on the spectrum feel this way.
Hmm.
It's just it's but it's more with my daughter. What they were telling me, since he's considered severe autism, all her emotions are intensified. Like imagine if you dropped LSD. It's like
No,
her all the time.
I don't have to imagine.
Okay,
I,
yeah.
if
You're
I
on it right now.
experience no, I'm familiar with that self-perpetuating spiral of
Yeah.
emotion that you can put yourself into. Um, super fucking familiar. Um, it's caused some problems. Um, but
Yeah.
you just kind of you live and deal. You
Well,
apologize and you try to address the behaviors that you can.
uh, dude, you want to hear something really fucked up?
What's that?
I don't know if I told you this. I might have, but this kind of pushed me in a little bit of depression. But I was told by my doctor that so we were like, okay, should we have a second child? Because handling a child alone is
Yeah.
crazy. Handling a child that can't speak to you is a little bit harder. But so we're like, okay, well, what are the odds of us having a second child that's autism? And I asked my doctor and stuff, and he literally looked at me. You probably carry the gene. And I said, what do you mean? He said, because you have like I have really bad ADHD. And he says that he's noticed a lot of folks, and it's not, he said it hasn't been tested or anything, but he says a lot of folks that have signs of the spectrum like that usually carry the gene. So if you have another child, there's a 50 chance that you're going to have another autistic child. So he
What he said
basically,
was it's a crapshoot.
yeah, I mean, well, he basically was just what he was saying to me, what I got out of it, that I'm the cause of it, and I just feel guilty. I even told my wife about it, and unfortunately, like she thinks it's bollocks, but
Bollocks! Uh, so here's the thing with that. You could carry the gene, and it could be your gene that expressed itself to its fullest potential that caused that.
yeah,
That does not make you at fault. That's not how genetics work.
yeah, I know it takes
It's
two.
not just that, but there's a series of dice rolls that occur of which piece get selected, and there's no controlling that right now.
No.
There will be here in a few years, but right now there's no fucking controlling that.
Well,
So fuck
well, the
that
person,
fucking guy.
well, the person that went to school that you're supposed to trust is kind of hinting at the fact that because I have some things messed up in here, that I was the cause of this, and it's just kind of, it disturbs
Genetics
me.
aren't
And then
everything either, though. Like there's
I
epigenetics, there's
yeah,
environment. Uh, uh, this guy's positing this, asserting this to you as a series of anecdotes without having any data to back it up. There's
yeah,
little to no genetic component from what I've read, and I could be dated in my reading, uh, but from what I've read, there's little to no genetic component in autism.
yeah. I'm,
and yet I have that anecdote about my dad.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I
Anecdote.
don't.
I don't know. I don't fucking know.
Well, in the end, I don't think anybody knows yet, and I don't know if anybody's gonna know because it's just kind of that's But I will say so here's a couple facts that are kind of scary. So one thing, the more people are diagnosed with autism than they ever have been in the history. Like
Well, this
it's
is
more.
the first time we've recognized it as a thing that can and should be
Yes.
treated.
Now, why? With that said, there's certain counties in this country that are really not even just county states that are really, what, we recognize this and we're taking the area. There's a reason why I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I
Yeah,
hate the beach. I don't really like the beach, but there's a reason why I'm here. And so there's places that if you feel that this is the path you have to take. I mean, I'm all about doing what's best for my, so that's why we're here. The another thing that's just really, this is a horrible statistic, but the divorce rate is 75%
for
of
parents of
families.
autistic children.
Yes. Now,
Hmm.
and you know why? I can see why, because
I could see the
a lot.
stressors having that effect.
Well, I hate to say this, but I am a man, and I am going to say this. A lot of men are naive, and they can't process that their child can't do what they want them to do, and like that's why I said the whole grieving thing. It's hard to imagine if so I have a daughter, but if I had a son, I'd be like, man, I want to play ball. Well, I can do that with my daughter. I want to play ball with my daughter. I want to kick a ball with my daughter. And now realizing that there's a little chance that they might never do that. They might not, but they still could. You can still work with them. They might not. If you So it's harder for men to, and it's easier for us to. And to me, that's just shame on them, because you need to stick by. Because if it wasn't for my wife, like, I, I mean, I don't know what I would do. Like, if something would ever happen to her, like, I love my daughter, but I don't. I would need all the help in the world, and she's just above and beyond amazing. And to me, it brings us actually closer. Now we fight a lot. Well, we argue, not fight, but
I'm
because
picking up what you're putting down there.
yeah, we argue a lot because of stupid stuff. But mostly it is about my daughter. But we have a strong enough relationship that we know that we both are here for her, and we both love each other when she's not, when she's at school. We go out to breakfast and lunch and all that stuff, and we still admire each other, which is great. But like the divorce rate, man, it's outrageous. Some people, and I blame the men. Not necessarily. It's not necessarily true, but I do blame the men, because a lot of men because we go to support groups sometimes, and a lot of men, they say a lot of men just leave. They can't handle this.
I
Which is,
think that's starting to come around. Um,
yeah,
in the when we when autism was still unknown and we didn't know what the fuck it was, and it wasn't nice, uh, and it wasn't like a household word yet. Uh,
yeah.
that that kind of flightiness then, I'd assume. I don't know that that's the case anymore. I'd like to see current statistics on that, like up to this year.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Um,
I don't know. I'm super data. I like playing with data. I want to see it in numbers. Another one of those ticks, by the way.
oh man. Yeah, I mean I'm looking it up right now, but the problem is there's no current data. I mean, the current most current, like the beginning of 2018.
Yeah.
So
Huh.
yeah, so it says the divorce rate is 80%.
Jesus Christ.
It says autistic spectrum disorder. I mean, it's just and it's just because it's just hard. Like I'm telling you, like I it's hard to explain, and it does take a toll. And I mean, we would just all right. So for the people that have been listening to us on the podcast, I've been looking for a house, and we've been trying to find a house that fits my daughter's needs. We need a playroom that we can see her, so she's not doing weird things, because she's still a toddler. Um, and we just we need that. Then she needs a special bed, because, like I said, she gets up in the middle of, because she's so wired, and that she can't go back. It's like,
Yeah.
if you ever seen a child. candy at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. That's what she's like sometimes at 2 in the morning,
Yeah.
and that takes a toll on us too, because then we argue about who's going to get out with her. You're off, I do it all the time, and it's one of the things, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
and it
just
puts
it's rough.
strains on points that other families don't have to deal with, or that they
Mm-hmm.
can just be givens with other families.
Yeah,
Uh, like Marco, when he came, when he went to school last year, he'd
yeah,
spent all summer out west with his biological dad and his grandma, and when he came back, uh, things were not okay for a
yeah.
while, and that put a hellacious strain on Ari and I. I don't think we ever considered splitting with each other. We just wanted Marco to be good again.
Yeah.
But like that kind of specific, like, this is a lot of stress, will create
Mm-hmm.
stress in other areas where there necessarily shouldn't be. And it just it spreads. So I know that pain pretty well. Probably not as severe, but I'm familiar with that stress. Uh,
Well, you know,
Thankfully, for me, it's in the past.
mhm.
Sorry for your dice.
No, it's. I mean, Chris and I, we really do admire each other. Still love. I can't honestly like I work full time and she stays at home, but that's a full time job itself because I try to stay
Yeah,
home with her, and it's just staying home as a parent. Period is a full time job, but and then add the little things of autism and things here. I mean, so my daughter, let's go day by day. So Monday, my daughter goes to school, nothing special. Tuesday, she goes to school, then speech. Wednesday, she goes to school and um, nothing special. Then Thursday she goes to school speech. Friday she goes to school and she has occupational therapy. Saturday she has swim classes. So it's like constantly going and going. And now we're trying to do this ABA therapy, which is basically just a babysitter that comes out to the house that's qualified to train your child to get better. And so now we got qualified for her to come out Wednesday and basically just hang out at our house with our daughter, and then which is great for us because if we have off, we can actually do stuff.
yeah.
Um, so, but
Oh
I,
man.
I always
Yeah.
get
That.
texts.
So that's uh that's a rocket rush
Yeah.
of activities. Constantly got to be going. Can't really relax ever, and
Yeah.
just
Well, like I always feel guilty doing the podcast. She's been with her all day, and when I've been at work all day, so I come home, I spend like 2 hours with the podcast. But we both know, like, so Kristen has things that she wants to do, and I always say I'll watch, I'll take the video, you go do you. God, I did, I do. That's where you
sharing the
need
load.
what. Yeah, that's what you need to do as a man or as a spouse. Period.
Just
You just
as a
need to.
partner. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to let them have their space. Alex, Alex and Ari have two different offices now. Just let them have their space and let everybody breathe at their own pace, and then it should be good. It should be good. I like
Yeah.
how this turned from like autism to leadership. Well, it goes hand in hand. I mean, it really does
Yeah. The
sometimes.
stress is created. Uh, and
Yeah,
being dads.
yeah,
Two dads talking about whatever.
yeah.
uh,
Hey, but honestly, one more thing I would say about this whole autism thing. 'Cause I have too much to say. I don't want to get too much into it. The only advice that I would give anybody is be patient, and everything else will come. You'll
that's
learn.
just good advice anyway.
Just be patient. As a parent, just be patient. Your child's going to do some things. You just got to be patient. So,
That's
yeah.
just good advice in general. Yeah. 10 out of 10 support.
Mic drop.
More more patience.
But yeah, so
Uh,
that's
yeah,
I don't know.
that's is that a wrap?
Yeah, that's a
All
wrap.
right.
Wrap.
Thanks for watching, everybody. A happy 1,000 plays.
Yes, thank you. I think
Yeah,
this is episode 60, maybe, possibly. Definitely check it out. I
we're
appreciate it.
on the line. I'm not sure
Yeah,
if this is it or not.
yeah. Um, I love the suggestions that people give us. And so keep it coming. If you want us to hear about something, we try to do 2 episodes a week. So one of those episodes would definitely be a fan request episode. So if you want to give
Just
us more shout out, that's awesome.
just oh
Just
my god, not as heavy as abortion and right to
yeah,
suicide. Good god, you
and
can't double whammy us like that.
yeah, we just got double fisted. Just remember this: I am not big on politics, so please be easy on me, because I don't want to talk
I,
about a wall again. All right, all right, everyone. You have a great night. Thank you.
yeah, have a good night, everybody.